welcome back to Drive-In Dishes. I'm your host, Sally Elias Kezi, and we're going to be doing one of my favorite things today, which is teaching the basics of cooking. We're going to be making a chicken soup, but we're going to be teaching you how to make a basic chicken stock. Okay, so chicken stock or beef stock or vegetable stock is the basis for things like mulukhaya, ul-es. A lot of different foods start with a chicken stock, and we need to learn how to make that in order to make many different recipes that we're going to be doing now and in the future. Okay, what is so important about making a chicken stock? Okay, you can get out your little powdered bouillon cubes and throw it into the soup, and yeah, that's chicken stock, but it will never taste as good as making raw chicken stock or chicken stock from scratch. Okay, what are the other benefits of chicken stock? Okay, this is very important for you to know. When you are giving somebody chicken soup to make them feel better, somebody who has a cold, chicken soup made from a bouillon cube is not going to do anything for you. It's not going to provide you the immunoglobulins you need to get better from a cold. But chicken soup or chicken stock made from a real chicken is going to provide you with the immunoglobulins you need to get better. This is true. Okay? And another important point. Mulukhaya made from bouillon cubes is not mulukhaya. Okay, so when we were younger, my brother and I, we would get sick. My mother would tell me, oh, we'll make you chicken soup from scratch. And we'd say, Mom, we just want Lipton. We want chicken soup from a box. And she'd say, no, we're not making Lipton soup. That's not going to get you better. Guess what? She's right. It's really true. There are numerous potential health benefits from making your own chicken soup. Never mind if you really want to be a chef or a cook. You need to make chicken soup, chicken stock from scratch. Okay, enough of that lecture. Okay, I'm going to teach you two ways today to make chicken stock. I'm going to teach you the Egyptian way, and I'm going to teach you the classic European, or really the French way, using something called bouquet garni. Okay, bouquet garni is the way they put herbs into their chicken stock. But Egyptians try or tend to use different kinds of spices in their chicken stock. Okay, so first we're going to go through the ingredients list of both. We're going to start with the Egyptian way, and we're going to start with the classic French way. So I've got a whole chicken here, and traditionally, if you're just making chicken stock and you're not really interested in eating the chicken soup, then you could use chicken parts, everything but really you don't want to use the thighs, okay? But I'm using a whole chicken today. I got an organic chicken. I'll tell you something. That's your personal preference. I tend to use organic chicken. There's no real proof that organic is so much better than a regular chicken, so that's my personal preference. Before I put it in the pot, I rinsed it. I patted it dry. I made sure the inside cavity of the chicken was clean. I took the giblets out, okay? So you gotta make sure that you check inside the cavity of the chicken, make sure they haven't left the giblets inside the chicken because you don't wanna boil it that way. Then, after I rinsed and patted it dry, I put it into my big stock pot. I filled it with water up to the top of the chicken, breast side up, okay? All right, that's part one. Now we're going to go to the Egyptian way of making chicken stock. So this is what you're going to need. You're going to need some cardamom, salt, pepper. You're going to need an onion that I quartered already. You need some mastic crystals. Maybe you've never heard of mastic crystals. You can find that in the Middle Eastern grocery store, also called mastica. Okay, so here are my mastic crystals. Okay. What else are you going to need? You're going to need a bay leaf for the Egyptian way. We're going to put it in the middle, those bay leaves, because we're going to use it for both ways. And then to make chicken soup, so after we make our chicken stock, so stock is what we use to cook with, soup is what we eat. So after we make our chicken stock, we're going to make our chicken soup, which we're going to use orzo, okay? Orzo is pasta, and how do we know orzo? Orzo is lisan asfur. So when you hear your mom talking about شوربة فراخ باللسان عصفور, here is the lisan asfur. Okay, We also need a lemon to make our chicken soup. All right, let's go to the classic French way. All right. They load, or really the traditional way of making soup, I'm not going to say the French way, this is the traditional way. It is loaded with vegetables. Leek, a leek. We would also put in a couple of carrots. We would put in the quartered onion. We would put in 3 stalks of celery, and we would put in 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. I'm not going to go through all of that, but I'm going to give you an overview of how to make the classic chicken stock, or the European chicken stock, and then teach you how to make the bouquet garni. Okay, so just to go over it one more time, this is the European, the classic way of making a chicken stock. We would use a leek chopped into large chunks, 2 carrots chopped into large chunks, a quartered onion, 3 stalks of celery also chopped into large chunks. And of course the salt and the pepper is common to both. And did I say the garlic? 4 or 5 whole cloves of garlic. So yeah, that covers it all. Now, the important part of the European way is to make the bouquet garni. I keep saying that. What is that? What is bouquet garni? Bouquet garni is a way of adding herbs to your stock. But the problem with herbs is we don't want them floating around in our chicken stock. Okay, so what do we do? Well, there's 2 ways of doing this. A classic bouquet garni is taking 3 stalks of parsley and 2 little stalks of thyme. So I got this from the garden. And 1 bay leaf. Okay, if you want to do it the easy way, you just take these 3 things, take a little bit of kitchen twine and tie it around the herbs. But I learned a way which I think is very cool. So we're not going to use these leaves anyway. We're going to take these leaves, cut them off there. That's our leek. That's what we want for the soup. But we're not going to use that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of leaves here. Let's take a couple of good looking ones here. So we've got 2 leaves from the leek that we're going to fit together like that. Makes a cute little container for our herbs. So what are we going to do? We're going to tuck our herbs. So let's take the thyme and the parsley first. We're going to tuck them into that leek leaf. See how cute that is? And then we're going to put the bay leaf in here. And then we're going to close the whole thing up. Ooh, it's so cute. Okay. Let's see, we're going to tuck it in here like this and make sure all the leaves are tucked in. Okay. Now, how do we get this into the soup, you say? I'm going to show you. Let's get the bay leaf in here, nice and cozy, tucked into their little bed. Okay, take a piece of kitchen twine. Actually, you want a long piece. You know why? We want a tail on the kitchen twine. So we're going to tuck it, we're going to tie it around here. And then, so this is how you make a bouquet garni. This is what I learned when I was in France. Give it a couple of ties. This is just for flavor. It doesn't matter what it looks like because we're going to take it out later. That's why we have the tail. Because in a bouquet garni, gets dipped into the soup, gives it its flavor. Well, that's a long tail, but you're going to leave the tail out. So after we finish cooking the chicken, we take the bouquet garni out. Very cool, huh? All right, so I taught you that method. Now, let's start making the Egyptian method. We're going to put in, very easy, very, very easy, our quartered onion in here. About a crystal or 2 of mastic. So you buy this whole thing of mastic, all you need is a crystal or 2 when you're making your soup. And then we're going to put in some cardamom. Cardamom is one of my favorites. It has a beautiful smell. It's like perfumey smelling. I love it. So we're going to put in about a 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom. Okay. Then we're going to give this 1 little bay leaf in here, and we're going to put some salt and pepper. And really, that's it. All right. Now, this chicken, we're going to put it on the stove, bring it to a boil, then turn it down to a simmer, and let it simmer for an hour. All the while, well, every once in a while, we're going to take a spoon and skim off that frothy, foamy stuff off the top of the soup and discard it. So every once in a while, we'll check on it, take that froth off the top and discard it. And then we're going to let it simmer for an hour, and then we will come back and I'll show you how to do the reduction and make the soup. We'll be back to drive-in dishes. Welcome back to drive-in dishes. We are finishing up our chicken stock, and then we're going to make chicken soup. Okay, so let's refresh. When we were making our chicken stock, we had the chicken stewing inside the broth for about an hour till the chicken was cooked. All right, so here we have our cooked chicken. Lovely. Actually, you might be thinking to yourself, that doesn't look so pretty. It tastes pretty. That's the most important thing. But this is what a stewed chicken looks like. The chicken should fall off the bone, and I will just show you, forgive me for using my fingers, falls off the bone. Okay? So that's a perfectly cooked stewed chicken. Now, give me a minute to finish. All right. Then what did we do? We took the chicken out. We set it aside because we're going to eat this later. And then with a slotted spoon, we took our chicken broth and we removed all those onions and the bay leaf, and we removed all that stuff. You could also use a chinois or a sieve and remove all that stuff out of the broth. I think it's easier to use it with a slotted spoon, because then you can leave everything in the pot. You just take out the stuff out of the pot. Then we did a reduction. Okay, what does that mean? Well, we have to reduce our chicken stock because it's so full of water, and all we want is that lovely chicken pieces and immunoglobulins in there. Well, that's all we want left in our chicken stock. So I put it on a medium-high heat and boiled it down till I was left with about 3 cups of chicken stock. So I did all of this without you, sorry. Okay, so you got 3 cups of chicken stock. No salt, no pepper yet. You do not put your salt and pepper until you finish reducing your chicken stock. And then we were left with the 3 cups. And then once we reduced the chicken stock, I threw in a 1/4 cup of orzo pasta. Sorry, I did that all without you, but just for the sake of time. I threw in the orzo pasta. Why orzo? Because it's lisan asfour. And why is it called lisan asfour? Because orzo pasta looks like little birds' tongues. All right? I know, it's a lovely image. So we threw in our birds' tongues into our soup. We brought it to 1 boil because it doesn't take that long for these little birds' tongues to cook. 1 boil for that orzo pasta, and our soup is almost done. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to take a bowl, and I'm going to show you what our soup looks like now. Okay, so we've got our beautiful chicken soup with the little bird's tongues inside. And then we've got 2 more steps, okay? For step 1, look at that beautiful soup. Look at that broth. This is what makes you heal, not Lipton, right? Right, okay. We've got our beautiful soup in there. We're going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice upside down. Lemon juice. And the lemon juice is so key. That's how we get our milky color, okay? Look at that, milky color to our chicken soup. 1 more step. Season now finally with our salt and pepper. And then we taste. Oh, that's beautiful. That's what chicken soup is supposed to taste like. So now I've taught you how to make a chicken stock. I've taught you, oh, I can't resist, how to make a chicken soup, and we're all done. Oh, don't forget your chicken. Bilhana wa shifa. See you next time on Drive-In Dishes.